Okay, so the biggest thing that you're gonna have to shift when it comes to home buying and starting the home buying process is your mindset. Your mindset is gonna impact everything that happens once you get that pre-approval letter until you get to closing and get the keys in your hand. So this video is gonna be very much off the cuff. I'm gonna walk you through some of the challenges that I faced and how I overcame them, and hopefully you can use them as inspiration, because a lot of people will reach out to me and they're like, I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know what to buy. I don't know where to buy. And I always say you have to do what's best for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else has done. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. You have to do what's best for you. So today, again, it's going to be super duper candid. I'm going to highlight a few things that really shifted my experience for good, and I want you to take what you can and put it in your pocket and leave whatever you don't want on the table, okay? So number one is to think like an investor. I think a lot of first-time home buyers get so hung up on this being your forever home, and the reality is it's not going to be the only home you buy. Like, it's not. It is not going to be the only home you buy. At some point, you're going to move. Like, I can't think of anyone that still lives in the house that they bought 10, 20 years ago. Like, I just can't. Like, everybody, whether they're old, actually I can think of one person, but that wasn't the home that she's in now. She's older. It's my aunt, my great aunt. That wasn't her first home. The home that she's in now was not her first home. So I think so many people get caught up in, my forever home. And the reality is your first home is not going to be your forever home. So I think when you accept that, you can move forward with the home buying process knowing that this is just a step on the way to whatever your forever home is. But your first home is rarely your forever home. So I think we get so caught up in wanting to have all the bells and the whistles, and the reality is you're only going to enjoy that for a couple of years. That can be as little as 1 to 2 years. It can be as long as 10 to 11 years. But at some point, you're going to outgrow that space, whether that's mentally or physically, and you're going to be ready for something different. So don't get so caught up in thinking this is your forever home. Think as an investor, which leads me to not really point 2, but to highlight, point 1B, which is to think about where you're buying. Location still matters. Location will forever matter. And I sometimes get a little uncertain about people that desire to buy on the outskirts because they think that the price is better, but you don't think about the resale value of being way out in the suburbs, being an hour away from the city, because you want to think about this home as a rental property ultimately. And if you are new here, you may not know this about me, but I specifically bought in the city near a big medical sort of community because one of my goals is to rent it out as a traveling nursing rental. But in order to do that, I gotta be completely out here. I'm not about to be coming back and forth. But anyway, that ain't even y'all business. But I purposely bought near the medical center because I knew that I had multiple exit strategies, meaning that I had multiple options once it was time for me to move out of here and into another place. I can rent it out to traveling nurses. I can rent it out to regular nurses, regular doctors that are new to the city, maybe fresh out of school and trying to get to know the city. Or I can rent it out to a regular tenant, somebody who's brand new to the city, somebody who's just looking to move into a house versus an apartment. Like, people always have different needs, and I didn't want to box myself into one box of being way out, away from everything civilization-wise. So I think thinking of your first home as an investment, thinking about what you envision for girl, what are you trying to say? Think about what you envision for this home after you leave the space, whether that's permanently, meaning you sell it, or temporarily, meaning you rent it. You want to be thinking about these things because you want to have multiple exit strategies. And that was something that was really important to me because I spent so many months, honestly years, studying this whole home buying process after the first go around that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have this together, okay? And I regret nothing. So number 2, because I feel like I rambled a lot on that, I'm sorry y'all, is to think about your lifestyle. My family and my friends know that I am a passenger princess. I do not like driving. I am quick to be like, hey, come get me, or hey, I'm an Uber, can you drop me back off? Like, I'm that girl in the community because I just like the convenience of being chauffeured around. And where I live, these folks drive crazy. So I just like knowing that I'm 20 minutes from everything versus one of my other friends who lives about an hour outside of the city and she does not like it. But granted, it wasn't her decision. When you're married, you got to make decisions together. But because I'm not married, I didn't have to, consider that. So what they're planning on doing now is moving back into the city. They're going to more than likely sell their house and move back because they both have, they both do not like the process of commuting. Even though one of them doesn't have to commute daily, it matters when all your activity and your social life is an hour away. That adds up in gas. If y'all haven't checked, is $1,000 a gallon. So, you don't want to be caught up in having to always fill up. You don't want to get caught up in wanting to have a good time, have some drinks, but no, you got to drive an hour back home. Like, that ain't hot. That ain't cool. And that just ain't my ministry. So you want to think about your lifestyle. Like I said, I gave you my example of being a passenger princess and not liking to drive. If you can relate to that, then you want to make sure you buy somewhere that's affordable. If you can. I know I have people watching from all across the country. Number 3 is to think about your right now. I know that when I was buying my home, there was a lot of pressure from people in my life. Not a lot, but I had a little bit of pressure from people in my life telling me not to buy in areas that didn't have school districts. Me, somebody who has no kids, somebody who doesn't have a plan to have a kid, it's not even on my to-do list. Like, now if that happens later, great. But like right now, I'm thinking about right now. And the right now, Joss, is childless. So why am I concerned about kids? Why am I limiting myself to where I live for these people that aren't even here? And it's so crazy because even when I shared this with my agent at the time, I'm like, I looked at the school districts. They're not the best. And she like, do you want to rent to people with kids? Do you want to sell to people with kids? Is that a requirement? And I was like, no. It wasn't. And I'm so thankful that she challenged me in that way because everybody doesn't have kids. And people who do have kids, they could homeschool. They could be in a private school. They could be out of school. Like, I'm narrowing myself to this one type of renter, this one type of buyer, when I could be getting some fresh college grads trying to buy their first home and wanting this home. I can get some fresh college grads that are looking to share a house with their friends while they build up their careers. Like, kids aren't even on their timeline. And I'm so thankful she did that. So that is my recommendation to you, is to think about your right now. If you're not already pregnant, trying to get pregnant, don't focus on the future so much and adjust what you want for something that's not currently here. That's what I'm trying to say. But again, take this with a grain of salt. This is not a Bible, okay? Number 4 is to think about, or think as if you will be moving again. And this goes back to point 1 of thinking like an investor, because again, people think their first home is their forever home, and that is not the case. Ultimately, if God continues to bless us the way that He is, you'll gain more increase. You'll gain more income. You'll have opportunities to explore different routes, and that'll allow you to potentially be in a new space, be in a new home. So don't get so caught up in having to have everything that you need on your list. Just think about the things that absolutely matter for your life in this season right now. And then the next house, if you do, decide to have kids, that can be the home that you're like, okay, well, we already actively planning for this. I'm actively planning for this. Let me go ahead and get something and pay attention to these school districts. And then number 5, lastly, is to think about your needs and not your wants. A lot of people have needs as like, I need a pool, I need a gym, I need all of this stuff that you realistically don't even use. And what they don't tell y'all about all these amenities is that they cost you. They're not free. they cost you in terms of your HOA fee, your homeowners association fee. That's not free. Fee means a cost. So you're paying for them to clean that pool every year. You're paying for them to keep the lights on and keep the stuff clean in the gym. You're paying for all of this stuff, one way or the other. So for me, I wanted a pool too. I wanted a pool. I don't have a pool. I wanted a community pool, not a personal pool. However, I knew that that would increase my HOA. Why? Because my friend who has a pool is paying astronomical fees for her HOA. I didn't want that to be my story. I wanted a monthly payment that I could afford. I didn't want to be stressing over a monthly payment that I could not afford. And HOA fees are part of your monthly payment. It's PITI. That is a part of your, not principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Okay, it's actually not a part of PITI, but it is a part of your monthly payment. They consider that a part of your monthly payment. And if you want all these amenities, you're gonna have to pay for them. So I got super duper clear on my needs, and I realized that a pool and a gym was not a need, it was a desire, it was a want. And guess what? One of my best friends lives around the corner, and guess what? She has a pool and a gym, 5 minutes away. So whenever I need the pool, guess what? I'm pulling up over there. Why? Because it's free. So those are just my thoughts. Again, these are just my honest recommendations. Please take what you want and spit out the bones. You have to ultimately do what's best for you. But I think so many people enter this home buying process not even being sure of what it is that they need, or thinking about things in a way that they shouldn't. And I want you to shift your mindset around this being your forever home. That's really what I want to drill down into you, is that this is not going to be your forever home. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. That should help you to release the pressure of feeling like you have to have all these things, when in reality, you can have those later. You know, it's about your budget right now. It's about your lifestyle right now. It's about thinking as an investor. It's about thinking as if you're going to move again. And it's about thinking about your absolute needs and some of your wants. Every want's not going to be accomplished, and that's okay. Because guess what? Increase is coming. Increase is coming. So think about your future and think about your right now, and find the common ground between the two as you embrace your home buying process. So I hope that was helpful. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments below. Please let me know if you have any recommendations of things that you'd like me to discuss. And thank you for watching and subscribing and sharing this with your family and your friends, because I see it and I love it. So I will see you guys on the next video.